This is John's Dad. Welcome back to my channel, John's Dad Hikes. In this episode, I'll show you how to make these and how to use them. The ingredients for the homemade fire starters are pretty basic. The bottom of a compressed paper or cardboard egg carton, not the plastic ones or the foam ones. Some unscented wax melted down, and I'll show you how I do that. Belly button lint. You can also get lint from the dryer. A lot of times I'll put in some dry, or some twine. It burns real well. And I'll also throw in pieces of balsa wood, maybe even some hardwood, tiny little things that fit down into the egg carton itself. Once it starts burning, those things burn nice and hot and burn a long time. I used a double boiler method of melting the wax. This certainly isn't very exciting, but you get the idea. The water's boiling. The wax is really not melting yet. It just started to boil. So I'll let this go on for a few more minutes and I'll be back. We're making progress. It's been about a half an hour and all of those candles are melted now. So we'll move over and start building the fire starters. We gathered all the ingredients. Here's the cardboard egg carton. Pieces of wood. Found some sawdust. That'll burn really well as well. Cut up some twine. Also, it works well in there. The wicks from all those candles. Those burn real well. Those burn well in there too. Stack of belly button lint. I also cut up parts of the egg carton lid into little pieces that can be put on as like a little cap. So we'll get started. A couple pieces of the balsa in each little hole. Not a rigid formula. Whatever fits, kind of push it to the bottom. And pour in the sawdust. Spread it around a little bit here. Okay, we'll put some of the twine on the top. And push it in there a little bit. Doesn't matter if you overlap between the different egg holes. We're going to eventually cut these apart, and anything that overlaps will just be cut. Not a problem. And I'll just cram some of the lint on the top of each one. When you're dealing with your lint, do you ever wonder where some of it came from? Like, what blue clothes do I have? You don't anymore. It's lint. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit more over here. Push them down, pack them in pretty good. Look for places that could use a little bit more. All right, now this is the dangerous part. The wax is very hot, it's melted, be very careful. And just begin pouring it in. Just a little bit, not too much. And don't forget the holes on the end, because they're on the end, sometimes you might miss them, focusing on the middle. I'm just going to pour in the rest of this wax. I think there's room. All the corners. And then if you want, put a little lid on there. Remember, this wax is still hot, even though you've poured it out, it hasn't cooled yet. There you go. All right, so as soon as this cools off, I'll show you how I cut them apart, and we'll have 12 egg carton fire starters. After the wax and the egg carton fire starters cooled a little bit, I threw it in the freezer, hardened up a little bit. Not real exciting here, but this is all I do. And the wax does get in the teeth of the saw a little bit, but it cuts them apart. And I will spare you, I won't make you watch me cutting all 12 of them apart. Welcome to my garage. I don't feel real comfortable burning anything inside the house. Out here in the garage, on the cement floor, even on a cookie tray you'll see, and a fire extinguisher nearby, I'm okay starting a little fire. I'll set it up with a clock so you can see exactly how long they burn. This is my setup. I'll start the clock on a time lapse so you don't have to sit here for 10 to 15 minutes watching it. And I'll dip one of them in water. That's what's in the white plastic thing. I'll dip it in water so you can see they do start when they're wet. Backpacking, there's a lot of times you're going to be wet. So in a second I'll start this up, and the next you'll see is a couple little fires burning here. Well, I got to tell you, that was boring. 20 minutes for one of them, 25 minutes for the other, and the 25-minute one was still burning, but I called it. If we don't have a fire going by 25 minutes, the little flame that was left wasn't going to do anything for us. The only thing left was the residue from the paper egg carton and the non-burnable part of the lint. A lot of the lint is from fire retardant clothing, that kind of thing, and it's not going to burn. Works for me. You did notice, I hope, I did dip one in water, and so it was wet when I lit it. It sputtered and sparked a little bit, but it did light really just as easy as a dry one. So do you have any things that you use for fire starters in the wild? You know, make some comments below. Any other things you might put in them? Anything you try that works good for you? Let me know. This is John's Dad. John's Dad Hike is my channel, and subscribe, like it, and make comments if you like. Thanks.